FC Barcelona isn't just a football club, it's a footballing force. But what truly defined their prime? Was it Ronaldinho's artistry, Messi's legendary rise, or the unstoppable MSN trio, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, tearing defenses apart? Was it the midfield mastery of Xavi and Iniesta, orchestrating football like a work of art? Here's the thing, Barcelona's prime wasn't just about dominance, it was a revolution. It wasn't just the trophies, it was the style, the way they played. It was football as a performance, leaving both fans and rivals in awe. But where does Barcelona's peak stand in history? Can it outshine Real Madrid's Galacticos or Pep Guardiola's Manchester City? Today, we'll explore the two key eras, the Ronaldinho revival and the Messi-led dynasty. Stick around to discover how FC Barcelona became a global symbol of greatness. And hey, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for more of football's greatest stories. And no, I'm not an AI voice, but thanks, I guess. Before Barcelona became the footballing powerhouse we know today, their journey was one of highs and lows, glory and struggle. Let me take you back to the beginning. In 1899, a group of Swiss, English, and Catalan visionaries founded FC Barcelona. Little did they know they were creating more than a club. They were building an identity, a symbol for Catalonia. Over time, Barcelona's name echoed across Europe, not just for their success, but for their style. Football that wasn't just played, but performed. The golden moments came thick and fast. In the 1970s, a certain Johan Cruyff walked into the Camp Nou. He didn't just bring his talent, he brought a philosophy, a way of thinking that would define Barcelona for generations. His total football approach revolutionized the game, and his return as manager in the late 80s gave birth to the Dream Team. Names like Romario, Stoichkov, and Guardiola danced on the pitch, delivering Barcelona's first-ever European Cup in 1992. By the late 90s, Barcelona was on top of the world. They weren't just winning, they were captivating. Every touch of the ball, every goal, it was football with a soul. But as the new millennium dawned, the magic began to fade. Poor decisions off the pitch, lackluster performances on it, and a growing sense of disarray saw the club slip. From 2000 to 2003, Barcelona was unrecognizable. League finishes outside the top four, embarrassing European campaigns. It was a shadow of their former glory. The Camp Nou felt heavy, weighed down by the expectations of a proud history and the reality of a struggling team. But here's the thing about football. Moments of despair often set the stage for something extraordinary. In the summer of 2003, a spark arrived. A player whose smile alone could lift the gloom and whose talent would ignite a revolution. Before we get into who that was, let's talk about how he turned the tide and brought Barcelona back to life. The summer of 2003 was a defining moment for FC Barcelona. The club was in turmoil, financial issues, poor results, and a loss of identity. But everything changed with two key moves: Joan Laporta's ambitious presidency and the arrival of a player who would spark a revolution. Enter Ronaldinho Gaucho, the Brazilian wizard with a smile that won hearts and a flair that turned skeptics into believers. But let's not forget the role of manager Frank Rijkaard, who took charge in 2003 and brought discipline, structure, and a vision to restore Barcelona's glory. Together, Ronaldinho and Rijkaard would reignite the club's greatness. Ronaldinho's debut season wasn't about trophies, but about rebuilding belief. Barcelona stumbled early, but by January, everything clicked. Ronaldinho's dazzling dribbles and jaw-dropping goals, like that thunderbolt against Sevilla, brought the fans back to life. Alongside him, Carlos Puyol led the defense, while Xavi began to orchestrate from midfield, and a young Iniesta hinted at the greatness to come. By the end of the season, Barcelona finished second in La Liga, showing that the storm had begun. The next season is where it all clicked. Barcelona made smart signings, bringing in Samuel Eto'o, whose hunger and lethal finishing added firepower to the attack. Deco, the Champions League winning playmaker, brought composure and creativity. Juli, a speedster on the wing, stretched defenses, giving Ronaldinho the freedom to work his magic. And magic it was. Ronaldinho wasn't just playing football, he was performing art. From his audacious no-look passes to his gravity-defying free kicks, every game felt like a spectacle. Barcelona stormed through La Liga, winning their first league title in 6 years. One unforgettable moment: Ronaldinho's performance in El Clásico at the Santiago Bernabéu. As he danced past Real Madrid defenders and scored twice, the home crowd did the unthinkable. They gave him a standing ovation. That's the kind of player he was, a genius who transcended rivalries. If the previous season was a revival, the next one was redemption. Barcelona didn't just dominate domestically, they conquered Europe. Eto'o, Deco, and Ronaldinho were unstoppable, while Xavi and Iniesta began to master the midfield. Rijkaard's 4-3-3 system, built around possession and quick transitions, became the envy of the footballing world. But no story of this season is complete without mentioning the Champions League final. Against Arsenal, Barcelona found themselves trailing 1-0. The pressure was immense, but this team thrived on such moments. Eto'o equalized, and substitute Giuliano Belletti scored the winner, delivering Barcelona their second European crown. The scenes at the Camp Nou that night? Pure ecstasy. Fans poured onto the streets, celebrating a team that had brought joy and pride back to their city. Success, however, can sometimes breed complacency, and the 2006-07 season tested Barcelona's resolve. Despite having Ronaldinho, Eto'o, Xavi, Iniesta, and the rising star Messi, the cracks began to show. Injuries plagued key players, and internal tensions simmered. Eto'o and Ronaldinho reportedly clashed, and while Rijkaard tried to maintain control, results on the pitch suffered. Yet one bright spot emerged: Messi. At just 19, he delivered a stunning hat-trick in the 3-3 El Clásico, hinting at his future greatness. Still, Barcelona failed to win La Liga, losing out to Real Madrid on head-to-head results. By the 2007-2008 season, the decline was evident. Ronaldinho's form faltered, injuries took their toll, and Messi was the lone shining star in a faltering squad. Barcelona finished third in La Liga and crashed out of the Champions League in the semis. Rijkaard's reign ended, and the question was, could Barcelona rebound? Entered the summer of 2008. Change was on the horizon, and it came in the form of Pep Guardiola. A former captain and a disciple of Cruyff's philosophy, Guardiola was poised to lead Barcelona into a new era. His arrival signaled more than just a managerial shift. It was the dawn of a revolution. Guardiola's first move was bold. He removed big names like Deco and Eto'o, making room for a new vision. The squad began to take shape around Xavi, Iniesta, and a young Messi, with key additions like Gerard Piqué and Dani Alves. A collective identity was forming, one that promised something extraordinary. The stage was set for greatness. Could this team, under the guidance of a relatively inexperienced coach, reclaim their place atop world football? The answer was just about to unfold, and it would change everything. The 2008-09 season was nothing short of transformative for FC Barcelona, a year that fans will remember forever. When Pep Guardiola took over, the club was emerging from years of frustration. But what Guardiola brought with him wasn't just hope, it was a belief that Barcelona's golden years weren't behind them. They were about to begin. And then it happened, the revolution. Guardiola's Barcelona wasn't just about winning, it was about dominating. It was about playing with style, precision, and unrelenting intensity. Gone were the chaotic, disjointed performances of the past. Guardiola's philosophy was clear: a commitment to possession, pressing, and constant movement. Tiki-taka was born. The catalyst of this transformation? Lionel Messi. No longer the young talent who dazzled in flashes, Messi became the focal point of this new era. Guardiola's faith in him was instant and unwavering. He gave Messi the freedom to roam, operate as a false nine, and drop deep to link play before exploding forward with pace and vision. The results? Magic. Messi thrived, scoring goals, providing assists, and captivating the football world. But it wasn't just Messi. Xavi and Iniesta, already legends in their own right, flourished under Guardiola. Xavi's passing became more precise, Iniesta's dribbling more elusive. Together, they formed the beating heart of a midfield that controlled games and dominated football for years. And while Messi was the star, it was a collective effort that made this season unforgettable. Samuel Eto'o, in his final year at the club, was lethal in front of goal, finishing with 36 goals in all competitions. Dani Alves, the Brazilian dynamo, provided an attacking edge with his overlapping runs and pinpoint crosses. Gerard Piqué, returning from Manchester United, strengthened the defense and was key in Barcelona's high defensive line and quick transitions. But it was the playing style that truly set this Barcelona apart. Tiki-taka became more than a tactic, it was a revolution. An intricate system of short passes, relentless pressing, and positional play suffocated opponents. Barcelona didn't just dominate possession, they controlled the rhythm of the game. The passing stats were staggering, with every move calculated, every pass a potential opening. Opponents couldn't get the ball. Barcelona made them chase shadows. The results were nothing short of historic, a treble. La Liga, the Champions League, and the Copa del Rey. Few teams have ever achieved this, and none had done it with such flair. The Champions League final against Manchester United in Rome was a perfect showcase. A 2-0 victory, with goals from Eto'o and Messi, left the football world in awe. This wasn't just a great team, this was a team that redefined greatness. The fans who had known the lows of mediocrity were now witnessing football that was nothing short of magical. They chanted "Més que un club" louder than ever before. The Camp Nou was alive, buzzing with excitement as Barcelona became the talk of football. The 2008-09 season wasn't just another title-winning year, it was the birth of a dynasty. Messi, the heartbeat of it all, and Guardiola, the mastermind, set the stage for what was to come. Fans were already dreaming of more. Could this team keep up the dominance? Would they go even further? The treble had been won, but Barcelona's journey was only just beginning, and so the story continued. After the euphoria of the treble, the 2009-10 season presented new challenges for Barcelona. As the benchmark of European football, they were now the team everyone wanted to beat. Yet, under Pep Guardiola's leadership, the magic didn't fade. Messi, continuing his reign as the top scorer, was still the heart of the team, but this season wasn't as smooth as the previous one. Barcelona, though still brimming with talent, wasn't quite as invincible. They had their struggles, but they were still Barcelona, and their style was still unmatched. The emergence of Pedro as an unsung hero was crucial, with his ability to score key goals throughout the season, including a memorable strike in the Champions League final against Manchester United. The midfield trio of Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets remained the backbone, while Dani Alves continued to provide the attacking spark down the flank. But despite some magical moments like the 5-0 demolition of Real Madrid in El Clásico, Barcelona's grip on La Liga slipped, finishing second behind Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid. It was a tough pill to swallow, but they still captured the Copa del Rey and remained dominant in Europe, dispatching teams with ruthless efficiency. Then came the 2010-11 season. Barcelona didn't just raise the bar, they set a new one. Guardiola's side reached footballing perfection. Their intensity, fluidity, and mastery of possession football became the standard. Messi? He was unstoppable, finishing the season with 53 goals in all competitions. His performances were a spectacle, and the team fed off his brilliance. Xavi and Iniesta, as always, orchestrated the midfield, while the ever-solid Busquets and Piqué formed a defensive wall. But the defining moment of this season came in the Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid. Messi's solo goal at the Camp Nou is still regarded as one of the greatest goals of all time, a defining moment in Barcelona history. In the final, Barcelona dismantled Manchester United 3-1, showcasing not only their style but their substance. They had redefined the game with tiki-taka, and now the world was watching. Barcelona wasn't just the best team, they were the undisputed champs of the world. The 2011-12 season, however, was a test of resilience. Real Madrid under Mourinho had bounced back with a vengeance. Despite Messi's record-breaking form, scoring an incredible 73 goals and becoming Barcelona's all-time top scorer, Barcelona's quest for silverware faced a serious challenge in La Liga. Yet, even as they struggled in the league, Barcelona still had the magic. They claimed the Copa del Rey with a stunning 2-1 victory over Athletic Bilbao in the final. In Europe, they reached the Champions League semi-finals, proving that while Real Madrid might have taken the La Liga crown, Barcelona's style and substance were still on a level all their own. Messi's brilliance, combined with the genius of Xavi, Iniesta, and the core of the team, kept Barcelona firmly in the conversation as the best team in Europe. Despite the challenges, they remained a force no one could truly match. The 2011-12 season was a reminder that, no matter the competition, Barcelona's identity was untouchable. By the 2012-13 season, the inevitable happened. Guardiola's era at Barcelona was coming to an end, not before one last season of glory. Messi was simply unstoppable, scoring 60 goals in La Liga, yet the team faced new challenges. Injuries, defensive lapses, and rival teams adapting to their tiki-taka style meant that Barcelona wasn't the dominant force they once were. Despite these challenges, Barcelona clinched their fourth La Liga title under Guardiola, and Messi's performances kept fans dreaming. But a crushing Champions League exit to Bayern Munich exposed the cracks. Teams were starting to counter Barcelona's style with a more direct approach. Guardiola's tenure had forever changed football. Barcelona had redefined the game with their possession-based football, technical brilliance, and lethal efficiency. They didn't just play football, they created an art form. While rivals like Real Madrid were still chasing their tails, Barcelona was miles ahead. Guardiola unlocked the team's full potential, and their football became a statement to the world. No one played like Barcelona. Guardiola wasn't just a coach, he was a visionary. He took Barcelona's attacking prowess and made it unpredictable, unstoppable. The tiki-taka style he instilled was more than a system. It was a philosophy built on fluidity and precision. But what truly made Barcelona's prime so special was the mentality Guardiola instilled. The team played not just as individuals, but as a collective, each movement part of a greater design. The emphasis on pressing, midfield control, and relentless perfection turned every match into a spectacle. And Messi, of course, wasn't just a player. He was the king of this revolution. Guardiola's Barcelona was a movement, and the world couldn't stop watching. In 2014, as Guardiola's legendary era drew to a close, a new challenge arose. Enter Luis Enrique, the man tasked with continuing Barcelona's legacy and taking them to new heights. A former Barcelona player, Luis Enrique knew the club inside and out, and he understood how fierce the modern game had become. But Luis Enrique brought something fresh. His philosophy was about intensity, relentless attacking, and unleashing an offensive juggernaut. No longer just about possession, now it was about domination, flair, and thrilling football. Under his guidance, Barcelona's possession game became faster, more explosive, and unpredictable. And at the heart of it all, the MSN trio. With Neymar's arrival in 2013 and Luis Suarez joining in 2014, Barcelona's attack was transformed. Messi, Suarez, and Neymar formed an unstoppable force, a trio that struck fear into defenders, thrilled fans, and left rivals in their wake. Together, they were a brotherhood, feeding off each other's energy, playing with joy, and turning every match into a spectacle. The chemistry was undeniable. Neymar's flair, Suarez's clinical finishing, and Messi's vision and dribbling were a deadly combination. But it was more than their individual brilliance. It was the bond they shared. On the pitch, they were a whirlwind of creativity, anticipation, and brilliance. This wasn't just a trio, it was MSN. And the magic? It was real. Let's talk about the numbers. In the 2014-2015 season, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar didn't just play together, they created a phenomenon. By the end of the season, they had racked up a staggering 122 goals in all competitions. But it wasn't just about the goals. They also combined for 49 assists, showcasing the depth of their partnership and their undeniable impact on the game. Lionel Messi, he finished with 58 goals and 27 assists, a reminder that he was and always would be the king of football. Even in the most challenging moments, it was Messi who pulled the strings, making the impossible look easy. His dribbles, his vision, his goals, all were a showcase of why he's considered one of the greatest to ever play the game. And behind him, Suarez and Neymar feeding off his brilliance. Luis Suarez in his debut season scored 25 goals and set up 16 assists. His deadly finishing, relentless work ethic, and ability to unlock defenses made him the perfect complement to Messi. His connection with Neymar was electric, each pass, each move seemingly orchestrated with precision. Together, they formed an attacking partnership that was almost impossible to contain. Neymar, the flair artist of the trio, brought the magic with 39 goals and 9 assists. His creativity, speed, and ability to break down any defense made him the unpredictable force Barcelona needed. Whether he was slicing through defenses with a dazzling run or finishing with clinical precision, Neymar ensured the attack remained fresh, dynamic, and unstoppable. Now, take a moment to absorb that 122 goals in a single season. No other trio in world football was even close. Their chemistry was perfect, like a well-oiled machine, understanding each other's moves without words and delivering a performance that took football to new heights. But these numbers weren't just for show. They translated into glory. Barcelona clinched La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and most importantly, the UEFA Champions League, a treble. And this wasn't just a trophy haul, it was a declaration. Barcelona, under Luis Enrique's tactical brilliance and the magic of MSN, had stamped their authority as the best team in the world. And this dominance wasn't a one-off. They had arrived, and they were staying. This era wasn't just about goals. It was about entertainment, passion, and a legacy that would echo throughout history. Barcelona, with MSN leading the way, redefined attacking football. Fans around the world were left in awe, chanting and dreaming. Barcelona wasn't just a club, it was a living, breathing legend. And with MSN at its heart, they had rewritten the very fabric of football. Barcelona's prime under MSN wasn't just a fleeting moment. It spanned years of dominance, a continuous statement from Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. Together, they became more than just a trio. They were a force of nature. But as time marched on, the winds of change began to blow, signaling that even the greatest era eventually faces its twilight. Remember those days when every Barcelona match felt like an event? When the world knew something magical was about to unfold? From 2015 to 2017, they were untouchable. The MSN trio were a spectacle, a well-oiled machine powered by raw talent and unbreakable chemistry. Their performances were like waves of brilliance, sweeping aside opponents in their wake. In the 2015-16 season, Messi, Neymar, and Suarez combined for a jaw-dropping 131 goals. But it wasn't just the numbers, it was the art they created on the pitch. Take that unforgettable El Clasico in 2016, where Barcelona demolished Real Madrid 4-0 at the Bernabeu. Neymar bagged a brace, Messi controlled the game effortlessly, and Suarez finished with clinical precision. It was a moment that encapsulated their peak, a night where their brilliance made the impossible look effortless. But as the years went on, cracks began to show. The 2017-18 season was Barcelona's most dominant league campaign in history, finishing with a record 99 points. Yet, the shocking Champions League exit to Roma, in one of the most improbable comebacks ever, left a wound that cut deep. For the first time in years, the seemingly invincible team wasn't untouchable anymore. In 2018, Neymar made the shocking move to PSG, a blow that would mark the beginning of the end for the once dominant trio. Could Barcelona continue without Neymar? Could they ever be the same again? Even with Neymar gone, Barcelona and Messi remained a force, but something was missing. As the squad started to change, the golden era of MSN began to fade. Though Messi, Suarez, and veterans like Busquets, Piqué, and Dani Alves still had moments of brilliance, it was clear that the team that once reigned supreme was no longer the same. Every season after 2017 felt like a last dance, a farewell to a chapter that had defined football. By 2018-19, the departure of Neymar and the aging of Xavi and Iniesta made the final pages of this golden era bittersweet. Messi and the remaining stars fought to preserve their legacy, but the landscape of football was shifting, and the dominance they once held was slipping. Then came the final act, 2019-2020. Messi's magic was undeniable, but the absence of Neymar and the loss of Xavi and Iniesta made the cracks even more visible. The defense, once impenetrable with Piqué, Busquets, and Dani Alves, began to show vulnerability. The once electrifying tiki-taka football had slowed. And then the unthinkable, the 8-2 loss to Bayern Munich in the 2020 Champions League. It wasn't just a defeat, it was the brutal realization that the era of dominance had come to an end. The curtain fell on a chapter that had seen Barcelona not only win countless trophies, but also revolutionize football itself. The loss wasn't just felt on the pitch, it echoed in the hearts of fans around the world, forever marking the end of an unforgettable era. And with that, we saw the inevitable departure of the old guard. Xavi, Iniesta, Piqué, Dani Alves, Busquets, each one a hero of the prime era, slowly but surely began to part ways with the club. They carried the torch for a generation, but now it was time to pass it on. In 2020, Luis Suarez was sold to Atletico Madrid, and with him, a final piece of the MSN magic was gone. But it was Messi's departure in 2021 that was the final blow. Messi, the face of Barcelona's prime, was no longer part of the squad. Fans wept, reflecting on the years of glory, dominance, and perfection. How could it ever be the same without him? The farewell felt like the end of an era, not just of football, but of a family that had carried Barcelona to untold heights. Messi, the boy who had come from Rosario, had become a living legend at the club, and now he was gone. That was the moment we realized the golden period of Barcelona was over. The squad that had once seemed immortal, that had changed football forever, was now nothing more than a memory. Barcelona's prime, a period that sparked joy, pride, and endless debates about their unparalleled greatness, has now passed. The Messi, Neymar, Suarez trio brought an era of glory, with unforgettable moments etched in history. But change was inevitable. The question remains, was the magic really gone, or is it simply awaiting a new chapter? Let's take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey that was crafted by visionary coaches and a philosophy that set them apart. From Guardiola to Luis Enrique, from 2015 to 2017, Barcelona was unstoppable. Messi, Neymar, and Suarez formed an attacking force that seemed invincible, and their chemistry was nothing short of extraordinary. Their 4-0 demolition of Real Madrid in the 2016 El Clasico is still a match that gives fans chills. Even without Neymar, Messi and Suarez carried the torch, but the dynamics were changing. The once slick tiki-taka football began to show signs of disjointedness. From 2009 to 2015, Barcelona had done more than just win. They had reinvented how the game was played. Their artistry on the ball, the precise passing, the relentless pressing, it was a style unmatched by anyone. But Barcelona's legacy will never be forgotten. Messi, the undisputed king, carried the team on his back for years, breaking records and winning hearts along the way. He wasn't alone. The brilliance of Ronaldinho in the mid-2000s laid the foundation for the success that followed. Barcelona didn't just win trophies, they gave their fans moments of pure magic. The 2009 treble, the unforgettable 2010-11 Champions League campaign, and the spectacular 2015 treble are forever etched in the memories of fans worldwide. Every game felt like an event, every victory a statement. And so, as we look back, we remember that while the golden era has passed, the legacy remains. The next chapter for Barcelona is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the DNA of this club, the passion, the pursuit of perfection, and the commitment to beautiful football will always be there. The future holds new heroes, new challenges, and new opportunities. So, to all the Blaugrana faithful who stood by the team through thick and thin, thank you. Your loyalty, passion, and love for Barcelona will never fade. As we close the book on this golden era, we ask, can Barcelona rise again? Will they reclaim the pinnacle of world football? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure: this club, these players, their legacy will never be forgotten. Now, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Barcelona will rise again? Hit that subscribe button for more, and let's continue this journey together. Until next time, Visca el Barça!